Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato, and today we're going to be reviewing information on the Maidan coup that happened in Ukraine back in 2014. And this is a report that it seems like it's from Ukraine, the Ukrainian judicial system. And so we're going to read it together and comment on it and analyze it because there is increasing evidence that it was not the I believe his name was Yanukovich government who ordered the snipers to fire. The snipers actually seemed to come from the protester-held buildings, and they fired on both the police and the protesters. So let's see. This person, Ivanovski, says, while unreported million-word Maidan Massacre trial verdict corroborates my academic studies by stating as its categorical conclusion that there were snipers shooting from Maidan-controlled Hotel Ukraine. Okay. This is protester-held Ukraine, or protester-held Ukrainian building, and that it cannot be ruled out that the 8 protesters were killed and 20 wounded by unknown persons who were not law enforcement officers, obviously because of the fact that it was from rebel-controlled areas. This implies Maidan snipers, since the verdict states that the trial disproved claims about presence of Russian snipers. Yeah, it doesn't make sense for it to be Russian snipers at all, even at first glance, because why would they fire on both police and protesters? Because that would just escalate things in order to overthrow the government, which was at the very least a fence sitter. Some people said they were pro-Russia, but I think they were more of a fence sitter between the EU and Russia. The verdict also confirms my study findings that there is no evidence of order given by Yanukovich or his ministers to massacre Maidan protesters, and that 4 police officers were killed and 39 wounded by Maidan snipers. In addition to acquitting 2 Berkut policemen for killing and wounding protesters, it states that all accused Berkut members were baselessly blamed for killing 13 and wounding 29 Maidan protesters. As usual, there are 0 media reports. So this is out of Ukraine. This report is coming out of Ukraine saying that actually it was not the government, the democratically elected government that we overthrew, that did this. So this is as strong of evidence as you could possibly get. It's literally them saying, yeah, we're guilty here. Prosecution, Maidan lawyers, media with some exceptions, self-proclaimed experts, and propaganda peddlers denied shooting by snipers located in Maidan-controlled Hotel Ukrainian and called it a conspiracy theory, while we know for sure that it is true. Okay, so we see here this guy, my open access peer-reviewed journal article. This study analyzed which party of the conflict was involved in the Maidan massacre in Ukraine in 2014. The massacre of the protesters and police on February 20th, 2014 was a turning point in Ukrainian history, I'm sure it said. Okay, so I would encourage you to go read this man's article. I've read bits and pieces of it before, and it seems to be really rock solid that it was not the pro-Russian side that had the snipers. And we've seen this time and time again, Western governments overthrowing, cooing various governments that they do not like. And so this is definitely in their playbook, and they project that it is the Russian playbook, but there's no evidence for that whatsoever. So he goes on to say various things about the study, the far right, the Euromaidan, and the Maidan Massacre in Ukraine article, like my 2 other open access peer-reviewed journal articles, shows the far right Svoboda party controlled Hotel Ukrainian, and the far right linked Maidan company of snipers shot from this hotel. Okay, so the neo-Nazis that the West is supporting right now, they were the ones that likely fired on the protesters. Okay. Wow. Maidan Massacre trial verdict confirms my study finding that protester Zerbini was killed from the Maidan-controlled Hotel Ukraine. The gunshot wound was inflicted on person 1852 from the direction of the Hotel Ukraine, and that was the territory of the rebels. Trial verdict. Okay, so Maidan Massacre trial verdict that 31 Maidan protesters were killed and 44 wounded with involvement of convicted in absentia. 3 special Berkut company members is based on fabricated forensic ballistic examination. So they just completely made up this case against these 3 Berkut members in order to pretend like it was the government that did this. So again, I would just like to reiterate, it was a democratically elected government that the West overthrew. Everyone on every side now is saying that, yeah, the West overthrew it. And the West, at the very least, is pretending like, well, yeah, we overthrew them, but we did it for a good reason. And that reason was we wanted them to be pro-America. Just ridiculous. Synchronized videos, testimonies by wounded protesters, on-site investigative experiments by government ballistic experts, and results of forensic medical examinations in my video appendix show that forensic bullet examinations on which the trial based its decision to convict. Wait, where were we? 3 Berkut officers for killing and wounding other Maidan protesters is fabricated. Content analysis of synchronized video showed that the specific time and direction of shooting by Berkut policemen did not coincide with the killing of specific protesters, testimony by the absolute majority of the wounded protesters. Oh, okay. This is something that I didn't know. Wait. Testimonies by the absolute majority of the wounded protesters and some 100 witnesses, investigative experiments by forensic, ballistic experts, and results of medical and forensic examination show that these protesters were also killed by Maidan snipers in Maidan-controlled buildings and areas, like the trial found about killings and wounding of few dozen protesters, killing of 2 protesters by ricochet or in crossfire by Berkut cannot be ruled out completely. Okay. So even the wounded protesters and the witnesses are saying that the snipers came from Maidan-controlled buildings. And there's still people in the West who are like, oh, it was Russia that did this. It was Russia. Like, wow. Oh, that's just like, it's shocking how stupid people are. Okay, what else do we have? Maidan. All right, let's just scroll along here. Yeah, I mean, I think we can leave it there. I would encourage you to read the 1,000,000-word report, and you can have something like a ChatGPT give you a summary of it. You can also read his, I believe he said he had 3 separate academic studies talking about this, Ivan Yanukovich. And I really do think that it's abundantly clear that it was the West that did this. It was Western forces that killed those protesters. It was Western forces that killed the police officers. It was Western forces that overthrew a democratically elected government. And that's why we're in the situation we're in Ukraine right now. That's why hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians are dead. Ukrainian military personnel are dead at this point. It's entirely because of the West. And so please, please, please support this person, follow this person, go read everything, because you don't have to take my word for it. Take the word of everyone involved. Take the word of the wounded protesters. Take the word of the eyewitnesses. Take the word of various experts who are at the scene. I mean, everything concludes that it was the West that did this. So that's what I'll leave you with for now. Just, it's so sad because, like, I'm an American citizen, and it's like, a few years ago, I had to ask myself, like, are we the bad guys? And it turned out, yes, like, definitively, like, across the board, America is the villain of the world. So if you found this video to be informative, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube and Rumble. It does help us in the algorithms, and we do appreciate it. Please subscribe to our channel for more content. We have one long-form video coming out every single day at this point. I have a huge backlog of videos, and I love making this content. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, critiques, please leave that in the comment box below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.